Someone said the elders know the road, but the young people walk faster. Imagine a synergy between the old and the young. We would achieve so much as a nation.
Just 1 week ago, the clocks were striking midnight and Nigeria was on the threshold of independence. There was a brief ceremony at which the leaders of 3 different faiths each said a brief prayer. We then realized, all of us, that however much we might imagine ourselves to be responsible for the happy accession to independence, we realize that above all, there is a divine providence. And I do honestly believe that one primary essential to international friendship and cooperation is for each man to be true to his religious beliefs and to reaffirm the basic principles of his particular creed. It may be that then, when we hear the world crying out for peace, we may receive the inspiration to deal with these intractable problems and be able really to devote all our resources to the advancement of mankind by applying those eternal truths which will inevitably persist long after we ourselves are utterly forgotten. Thank you, Mr. President.
Today, it pains me that more than 13 million of Nigerian children who should be in school are out of school. The truth is this: over 60% of our population are youth under 30 years of age. Over 60% of our population are youth under 30 years of age. And let nobody tell you that you are too young. I started making contribution to the world by serving in the Congo in 1960. I was only 24 years old. By the time, and you talk about that, by the time I went to the war front, I was still under 35 years of age. By the time I became head of state, I was under 40 years of age. So what betide anybody to talk about the years of youth? And if you are not given opportunity, you will not have the chance to show what you can do.
In 2016, I ran for the position of a councillor in my ward in Abia State. Being a young lady in the political space was quite challenging, but it exposed me to experiences that are priceless and lessons that were learned. I learned that young people need to have a sense of community. Young people need to build themselves, build capacity towards leadership, towards self-development, and towards nation building. Young people need to stay active in governance. A lot of young people are oblivious of policies that govern us as a people, and this is not right.
I remember growing up as a young Nigerian child to stories of the royal family coming down to Nigeria for medical treatment. Fast forward to 2020. If you'd ask a young or the average Nigerian medical trained doctor what their next plans are, you're most likely to hear an 80% reply that goes this way: I'm just going to just jand. I'm leaving anywhere but here. Currently, the statistics show that annually, a total of about 1,500 doctors leave Nigeria after medical training to go seek for greener pastures outside here. Now, I've seen some arguments proposing and opposing. Some say, why are they leaving? Some say, yes, leave. And some also ask me, are you leaving? Here's my answer to that. I'm a medical doctor, and I am someone who believes that Nigeria still has hope. And the reason I know that Nigeria still has hope is because Nigeria still has me, and Nigeria still has you.
I strongly believe that Africa is bedeviled by several challenges: corruption, ignorance, a lot of them that you can mention. But while we're chasing at these, there's a big part we miss out: being human, humanity. In the last 2 years with my work at Boys Scholars Africa, I've been able to directly engage over 6,000 boys across 11 cities in Africa. And there are several striking stories. The story of Dari I met in Ilorin, who told me about his neighbor who would make him leak a private part for 3 years. And he couldn't even tell his parents. He feels they won't believe his story. Or Mr. Alex that called in on a radio program in Ibadan, that was sexually assaulted at the age of 15, and 35 years later is unable to pull himself out of this dark cloud and shadows. These are the several stories of boys and men, stories of emotions being suppressed, stories of feelings being cast down, stories of struggles being cast away. Where we're trying to be good, we're trying to be vocal, we're trying to be strong, we push away the human part of us. We claim the future is female. While this is good, the biases against women and girls are perpetrated by men. I believe the future is humanity. The future is boys. The future is girls. Men, women. We can create a society that is desirable for us all if we put our shoulders on each other, help ourselves walk through the way. If we try not to suppress the feelings of each other, if we try to listen to each other, we can thrive in a society where we elevate integrity, personal leadership, self-leadership, where we're not moved by galvanizing people for our selfish reasons, where we can uplift the feelings of others.
Earlier this year, the story broke of a young man that was fatally shot by security operatives in Jos. This was said to have been a case of an error in judgment by the security agents. He was 20 years old, a student. According to this story, he was detained, he with 6 of his young comrades. They were detained, pending clearance, after which they were told to run. And as they did, all they had was just one gunshot. It was only after they had gotten to safety that they realized that they were not complete. One of their number was not there. Rangy was not there. His body was later discovered along the roadside. I've never met him. I never will. But this is his story. Not just his story, but a tribute to every single person who in some way has fallen victim to a nation in progress. Theirs is the story of Nigeria. Maybe an incomplete picture, but what is to say that if it happened to them, it cannot happen to us?
Exterior, Howells Crescent, noon. Tall guy walks across the street and jumps into a keke. He's in a hurry. Zoom, keke drives off. Get into Bata, a minibus comes across, vroom, and then comes down this freaky looking dude. Yeah, with a gun. Next thing he tells the tall guy, come out, enter the bus. So basically, that was my experience today with the same SARS in Aba, and it wasn't funny. I was trying to get down here as fast as I could, but then they stopped me twice and they had me enter their bus, and they kept searching my phone and my bag and everything. They kept searching my phone, my social media, up till 2008. when I got into school.
Being a Nigerian means a lot, chief of which is the daily struggle to survive and be successful just for yourself. We were raised to be in competition amongst ourselves, but never taught about collaborations and partnerships. Growing up in Aba, I always had people do a chant, and the chant goes like this. They will say, Nzobu, Nzobu, Enyimba, Enyi. And in their numbers, people together looking for a solution to a problem will go together to bring this lasting solution.
As a nation, we're not oblivious of the challenges that we have. I mean, a lot of governmental issues. You cannot tell people to stay back when you don't have clear plans for them. You can't tell a young person with a promising future to stay back and invest in a country that does not invest in them. We're talking about issues like security for the medics. We're talking about remunerations, timely remunerations. We're talking about incentives. We're talking about a clear trajectory for professional and career growth. When they stay back in a country like Nigeria, what's the need for them?
Nigeria is referred to as the giant of Africa. Unfortunately, we have become the poverty capital of the world, with 6 Nigerians entering extreme poverty every minute. This is a sad reality.
More than anything, we shouldn't let ourselves be distracted from the reality of what's happening in our society today. Nigeria is 60 today, and we barely have a lot to talk about, to take, like when it comes to development, when it comes to sustainability, like bringing up projects that are sustainable in the nation. We barely have such. I'm really hoping and I'm trusting that you and I, even if we're artists and we are in the creative industry, that you and I would do something that the world would see and be like, wow, we need to come to Nigeria.
Inclusive societies are sustainable societies. Nigeria at the moment is not sustainable because we are divided along ethnic and religious grounds, and this makes us identify first with our ethnicity or our religion before we identify with Nigeria as a country. I will tell the story of 93 million extremely poor Nigerians according to records from Oxfam as of 2020, and what this means is that across the north and south there are 93 million Nigerians who live below $1 a day. What this means is that their poverty does not recognize their ethnicity first. Their poverty doesn't recognize their religion first. What their poverty recognizes is the fact that they are barely able to eke out a living, they are barely able to feed, and they are barely able to send their children to get education. They are barely able to get the health care they deserve whenever they fall ill. And before we can go about building a nation that we can truly be proud to call ours, we must first address this inclusion. Until the northerners sees Nigerian interests first before the northern interest, and until the southerners sees Nigerian interests first before he sees the southern interest, then the country is progressing to nowhere in particular.
We are a country of over 200 million people, and we hardly produce anything. We hardly process any raw materials. We hardly are reputable for any particular product that we give to the world. So at this age, we should be asking ourselves, are we just a 200 million people that have no world-class projects that we have delivered? Everything in this room, from my head to my toe, everything I'm putting on must have been produced in another country. Everything, even the camera with which we are making this video, is not made in this country, a country of 200 million creative people. 70% of which are young people, youths like us. So what has been the bottleneck? What has been holding us down?
We should include leadership education, voter education, whatever it can be called, into our curriculum, into our school system. I make this advocacy that voters education be included for every 100 level students in every tertiary institution in this nation, to ensure that the populace knows about leadership, governance, and how to become effective players in this ecosystem. The bigger problem is economic power. They say not young to run. Do you have the money to actually run? And this is because we have zero access to information. We have zero access to amenities that can promote, economic activities for young people. And if this is done, if young people get involved in leadership, I think the space will be open so much for young people to be economically empowered and contribute their quota more. And they say capacity is a problem. Young people do not have the capacity. And when they say this, I laugh. And I ask them, your PAs are young people. We write the proposals. We do your speech. We do your work. All you do is to sign the documents, and you still come out and say that young people are not capable. And I differ with that. I differ to that rather. And I would say, look at Slum to School, headed by Otto Orandam. Look at the amazing work he's doing with Slum to School. Imagine if an Otto Orandam was the Minister of Education. Imagine if Hamza Lawal of Flow the Money was to be made the chairman of EFCC. Imagine if Samson Itodo of Young Africa, Not Young to Run, is to be the Minister of Youth and Sports Development, or even the President of Nigeria. Imagine if Dr. Choma Kano of Smile With Me Initiative becomes the Minister of Health. Think about the revolution that will come to this nation when these young, capable people take over the helm of affairs and contribute their quota to the development of our nation. This is where it ends. As young people, we need to think governance, think leadership, think contributing our voice to the polity. This is our option to make Nigeria better. We need to come together as one. Just like those days in Aba when they chant the Enyimba slogan, we need to come together, united as one, and chart this course to ensure that we have a better society. The elders can be at our side, but we have to take this challenge on our own. They do not know what we feel. They do not know how we feel. We are leaving the country every day because of looking for greener opportunities just to be successful for ourselves. But we all can come together as one and chart a course and say enough is enough and change the framework of leadership, contribute our voice, and make Nigeria a more sustainable place for everyone to live in.